But when you go 1 millimeter into these drills, it's for the American people.
It's absolutely for
because
the American
they know the foreign banks are stealing everything. They've got to test martial law to make sure the theft continues.
And, in this, they say that, the attacks may actually happen, that they're not all going to be preventable. And remember, this starts off with a mock terrorist attack in a separate nation.
And the last time I saw them really gearing up with this big of drills was right before 9/11.
Yeah, exactly.
And we've had the CFR say, Gary Hart and Rudman that kind of write the plans for this going, after 9/11, America will be hit. Denver, Cleveland, Dallas. He said Denver, Cleveland, Dallas, and one other place. And the audience of the CFR was going, we're being let to know. Knowing the slave public didn't understand what was being said. So watch it when it really happens, that they don't hit the very targets they listed.
Yeah.
And then go, oh, my God, I guessed it perfectly. Who would have thought? Kind of like the brother of Governor Keating in Oklahoma a year before writes a book called Final Jihad, where a Tom McVeigh bombs the Alfred P. Murrah building.
Yeah, it's the Oklahoma City building, and then they dedicate it to the Knights of the Secret Circle.
Yeah, the book says Knights of the Secret Circle.
Yeah.
Which is an Illuminati group.
And then Keating gets on television the day of the attacks and admits that there's multiple bombs in the building and that the bomb squads are there and that this must be a very sophisticated group. But it never happened. You see, 24 hours later, all that stuff was retracted, and it was the writer's.
No, they didn't retract it. They said, we're not going to discuss that. But, keep telling folks about National Level Exercise 2009.
Well, I just think that this is completely insane because the private organizations they're going to use in this drill are the same private organizations they're using right now to spy on you and declare immunity, like AT&T, when we had that whistleblower say, hey, man, I was setting up the computer in the secret room. I was running the Ethernet line, and they were doing a hard copy of every single email, every single IM, every single phone call you had. It's right here. And then he brings a lawsuit against them, and all of a sudden they're like, no, national security, you can't declare a lawsuit. You're not allowed to sue the government. And then the Obama administration, because this happened under the Bush administration.
They say, we're going to allow it to continue.
Yeah, and we're not only going to allow it to continue, I think we're going to expand it.
Yeah.
And it's going to get a little bit bigger.
And the left goes, you're just racist. And we go, no, we didn't like Bush doing it. We're against the police state. And they literally go, shut up, Klansmen. And we go, you're the one injecting. They're the ones injecting race. They want to divide and conquer.
Absolutely.
And it's shameful. We'll cover more of that when we come back. It is the Bermy Hour, the InfoWarrior.com.
And check out the InfoWarrior.com for some new Bobby bloggins.
SurvivalistSeeds.com. You can now grow your own healthy food for just 4 pennies a pound and break free of the New World Order. You need to get self-sufficient, folks. These people are vicious. They're shutting things down. Survivalist Seeds has now drastically reduced their price on heirloom seeds to the lowest out there. SurvivalistSeeds.com. Get 6,000 heirloom seeds for a really low price. Be sure and check it out. There's a real heirloom seed shortage right now, so people interested in growing their own healthy food need to get their heirloom seeds now and start their gardens this spring. Freedom starts with action. SurvivalistSeeds.com is how you survive the world economic collapse that the globalists are engineering.
Jason Bermas. We are now joined by Alex Jones, and we talked a little bit about NLE 09. I kind of wanted to shift gears to some of this climate change stuff that we talked about earlier, because right here out of Gizmodo, apparently Singaporean researchers at the Institute of Bioengineering and Nanotechnology have devised a way to convert carbon dioxide, the evil carbon dioxide.
That's terrifying.
It really is. I lose sleep at night.
No, there's like literally scores of video games that are free on Nickelodeon online and on TV everywhere for kids, different companies, where it's climate monsters, climate blobs, carbon dioxide monsters. And kids in America are now scared of carbon dioxide. They don't understand it's what they breathe, it's what plants breathe.
Yeah.
They don't understand that humans breathe it in and then exhale carbon dioxide that plants breathe, that humans breathe oxygen. And I believe that if they're able to sell this, they're next going to declare that oxygen is bad. Well, no, I mean, it's light, water, carbon dioxide, and oxygen are the 4 parts of the carbon cycle. But anyways, go ahead.
Well, they said they've been able to convert carbon dioxide into clean-burning biofuel. Methanol, using safe, non-toxic process, has mankind defeated the final boss of global warming. If this has any truth to it, this will be suppressed like no other. They don't want to let you know that carbon dioxide might actually be used as an energy source.
Well, the larger issue is they cynically brag, and we've made films about this, Endgame and others, that it's all phony.
Yeah.
And I keep saying this, but you got to tell other people, folks, because this is happening. All the real environmental crises that are going on, all the real things that genetic engineering, with toxic waste dumping, overfishing, there is a lot of serious things that are happening. And they need to rotate the seas. They need to, let it, be left fallow like a field for a while.
How about this story? Tons of released drugs taint U.S. water. That's a real crisis. I mean, they're finding all sorts of stuff in the water.
Well, they're also finding it in water supplies that aren't connected to runoff from human sewage, so it shouldn't have Prozac, and it shouldn't have estrogen-mimicking drugs from birth control in it, but it does, and it's devastating plants, animals, alligators, frogs, other animals, and this has been going on, and we'll go ahead and read the article, but then I'm going to get into the environmental.
Yeah, it's just no big deal. They have legally released at least 271 million pounds of pharmaceuticals into waterways that often provide drinking water.
And it goes on to say the government doesn't want to discuss that. Oh, God, see, also the phony environmental movement gives cover to all the real environmental crises. Mm-hmm. And so all these environmental, new cult members, because everybody wants a religion, they can follow the phony environmental cult and then never actually focus on the real issues.
Exactly. I mean, they're talking about one major manufacturer, Pfizer Incorporated, acknowledged that it tested in some of its wastewaters, but outside of the United States. See, it's okay to poison people outside of the United States and South America. Alex.
No, this is going on in the U.S.
Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. They just want to deny it for the U.S. media.
Wait a minute. You've got an article where they're denying it?
Well, Pfizer's saying they do it, but they don't do it in the United States.
Wait a minute. I mean, you can Google drugs in U.S. water supply. Mm-hmm. There's been literally thousands of articles. Dallas was so high that it was many, many times higher than it could have possibly been from runoff from sewage. Impossible. They're putting it in there. Now they've proposed, you're finding out about it. We want to put Prozac in the water. Mm-hmm. We want to put statins for your cholesterol in the water.
Mm-hmm.
I have mainstream clips saying that.
It reminds me of the movie Grosse Point Blank with John Cusack and Dan Aykroyd, these two assassins, these black ops guys. It's kind of a comedy. But they meet each other in a diner, and Aykroyd offers him a bunch of pills, to ease the pain. And he's like, no, I'm off that stuff. He's like, why? They're going to be pumping this stuff into the water in another 5 years anyway in masses. It's already happening. And, they just kind of laugh about it. Ha, 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 ha.
When did that movie come out?
That was back in mid-90s. And it's all about basically a black ops assassin a contract killer going back to his high school reunion 10 years ago.
I always thought that was just Hollywood conditioning us. And some of it is, I've confirmed. But now that I know a lot of Hollywood people, and I mean a lot, mm-hmm. They're actually all into this before I was even into it. So they're kind of slipping it in there.
Yeah.
But listen, let me get into the whole eugenics angle. Fatties cause global warming. I mentioned this earlier. The rising number of fat people was yesterday blamed for global warming. Now, again, the ocean is partly made up of carbon dioxide. That is more than all the plants, all the humans, all the everything. It's like when they say animals' flatulence, like cows didn't exist before as buffalo and as water buffalo and things. Again, it's just insane. The rising number of fat people was yesterday blamed for global warming. Scientists warn that the increase in big eaters means more food production, a major cause of CO2 gas emissions. And last year I had that big environmentalist on, big prize winner from England. He was saying we need food rationing for everyone and water rationing. Oh. So, see, the governments are getting you ready for this, but they'll sell you. It's just for those fat people. Come on, you're better than them. And then look at this. You were telling me about today, Bermas. Reuters, EU closes climate loophole for car air conditioners. First when their patent runs out on the COCs, they then come out with the new patents, and then right after then they push, for the Earth, it's eating the ozone layer. We got to have this new one. Well, now that patent's running out. So now they're going to have a new one that works even worse, or they're saying no air conditioners at all. The European Union has closed a loophole that would have allowed car manufacturers to continue putting climate-damaging chemicals in air conditioners of new vehicles beyond 2011. Ban, a commission document showed. The move opens up a new market for greener refrigerants, which they just now patented, with industry giant Honeywell International pitching its HFO-1234YF coolant against rivaling carbon dioxide-based systems. So before it was another chemical eating ozone. Now it's carbon dioxide that plants breathe. You've got to ban that one, such as Austria's Oberst Engineering. Okay, so there's the scam right there, ladies and gentlemen. Bermas, you have comments on this?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, one of the big things that we cover on this show, and one of the big things that we can still make a difference, everybody's out there, well, how can we win? How can we make a difference? We can say no to the carbon tax, Alex. I mean, they are putting legislation in.
And by the way, they're doing it now.
Yeah, it's in legislation
and folks, it's hundreds of things. And I want to explain to people. Well, I mean, go ahead and finish your point. Then I have the key point for everybody, and I know you probably already know what I'm about to say, but maybe some of you don't. We got to get this info out to people now, but go ahead.
Well, already a large climate bill with literally hundreds of other bills attached has been passed by the United States. Very broad. It talks about carbon's emission system. It doesn't get into the tax, but they are trying to pass tax laws now. So what you have to do is get a hold of your local legislators and say, look, we want legislation saying that we're not going to pay a carbon tax.
What? No. I mean, they had the leader of the Republicans on. And the strange thing is the New York Times linked to the YouTube video, and it says InfoWars.com at the top. We're just getting out everywhere. But side issue, the point here is that the leader Republican of the House, he said, well, it's almost laughable to say that it's a carcinogen and deadly poison because they were saying that on the news.